Thank you, Madam Speaker, Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Attorney General, Honourable Leader of Opposition, Honourable Ministers, Assistant Ministers, Honourable Members of Parliament, Nisam Bulavinaka, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning to you all. Madam Speaker, please allow me to congratulate you on your reappointment as the Speaker of Parliament for another term of Parliament. I'd also like to congratulate and welcome all other members of Parliament in this August House after successful 2018 elections. Madam Speaker, I would also like to put on record my thanks and appreciation for His Excellency's most gracious speech, and I'm confident that we all will take note of his wisdom and his vision for a united Fiji. Madam Speaker, a special congratulations to all the elected women MPs and also all the candidates who took part in the 2018 general elections. It is heartening to see the number of women now in Parliament. Needless to say, we as a nation can still do better. After all, women make up almost half of our population in Fiji, and gender balance has to be at the forefront of any responsible nation-building exercise. More women in position of power will instill confidence and motivate our lesser fortunate sisters to seek out empowerment opportunities and improve their families' positioning. It is widely accepted that when women become better educated and gainfully involved in a nation's affairs, the lawmakers and the people in authority become more conscious of the need to be civil and courteous, and more conscious of and to be more transparent and honest. A natural phenomenon given that mothers, wives, and sisters expect no lesser when grooming their family members. Madam Speaker, it is truly a proud moment for me today to stand together on this side of the House with my Fiji First colleagues in government and to coin the sentiments expressed so proudly by our courageous leader, and I quote, "Majority of Fijians have emphatically voted for ongoing inclusive progress, unequivocally rejecting politics of fear-mongering, unattainable promises, and division, distrust, and disunity." Unquote. Madam Speaker, like many of my colleagues from my generation, I was first attracted to the Fiji First team because of its resounding message of one Fiji for all Fijians. I grew up in a rural area of Fiji where whilst we lived harmoniously side by side, there were unwritten creeds expressed by some leaders and their policies which made us feel that certain privileges, awards, and grants and status were unattainable by all. In its years of service in government, Fiji First has proved that our fears experienced when we were growing up were unfounded and that Fiji is indeed for all Fijians. I, on behalf of myself and my party, wish to thank the voters in majority who had the wisdom to choose the right option for our government. I'd also like to put on record a special thanks to all our candidates during the 2018 elections, for without them, this victory would not have been possible. Madam Speaker, I'd also like to thank the Honourable Prime Minister and the party management for having faith and trust in me and assigning me my ministerial portfolio. I'd also like to put on record my special thanks to my two daughters who've always been the pillar of strength for me and my mother, and special thanks to my Chacha Hafizuddin and my brother Farman and his team from Nandi. Madam Speaker, Fiji First record during its 4 years term speaks volumes for its commitment to spearhead the advancement of our country. The Fiji we now live in is unrecognizable from the Fiji of the past decades. Madam Speaker, I had the honor of serving my country over the past 4 years in ministries where significant work has been done by all concerned in improving the lives of ordinary Fijians. Improvements in training and empowering of women, better allowances for destitute persons and senior citizens and disabled persons. Schemes have been set in motion to address poverty alleviation, better health services by virtue of provision of newer health centres, hospitals, birthing clinics and centres, and improvements in existing hospitals and medical services. Madam Speaker, for a country with a small population and small GDP versus many so developed nations, we have free education at primary and secondary schools, access for all at tertiary level without the need for heavy family debt burden, free medicine schemes and health services, assistance by the way of power and utility subsidies, bus fare subsidies for school children and those in need. And to top it all, Madam Speaker, we have a tax-free threshold of $30,000, an envy of most of the developed nations. Our international airport is of world-class standard. The periphery of the airport and drive-in and out of centres close engender a sense of pride when we meet up with visitors to our shores. Madam Speaker, the average Fijian has more take-home pay, and with reduced educational and other essential services cost, has of course improved our propensity to save or make other investments or lifestyle changes. The increase in owned vehicles by the average household and the accelerated pace of building and constructions everywhere noted through the lack of skilled workers is sure testimony that people's lives are changing. Fiji and Fijians are moving forward, Madam Speaker. Fiji and Fijians are moving forward. And we will maintain, if not increase our momentum to ensure that we leave no Fijian behind as we move forward as a nation. Madam Speaker, what is the general expectation of any average citizen and family, be it in Fiji or elsewhere else for that matter? A happy family life and an environment where children can have ready access to education, and a future promising economic and social advancement, a safe and a secure surrounding, a society free from name-calling identity, void of any fear of reprisal for being of a particular creed, faith or caste. A promise, Madam Speaker, which Fiji First, under the leadership of our Honourable Prime Minister and our government, is so diligently dedicated to deliver. Madam Speaker, we hear stories on a daily basis of countries where the ethos of some political parties and even some ruling governments are increasingly becoming more and more insensitive towards the rights and feelings of specific communities and groups. Madam Speaker, living in Fiji, where despite our cultural and religious differences, we have learned to coexist with each other peacefully. And Madam Speaker, as members of this Honourable House, we need to do our part to ensure that that peaceful coexistence continues for centuries and centuries to come. Madam Speaker, what does it take to bring about unsavory environments of hate, suspicion, jealousy fueled by bigots? I suspect not much. Unfortunately, a free and a democratic environment of freedom of speech to say and preach such malice can be severely abused. Leadership, Madam Speaker, of any powerful institution comes with the ever more powerful responsibility of guiding the people ably, not for self-aggrandizement, but for the betterment of all, an art which our Honourable Prime Minister has mastered so well, having courageously defended the rights of all his people equally, and laying the vision for a beautiful Fiji, which we all can truly and proudly hail as the way the world should be, or as the way our world should be. Madam Speaker, we are a small island nation separated by a vast ocean from major trading partners and sources of our prime industries. A small population base poses challenges for insufficient demand to be satisfied by economically viable local production or quantity-backed consumer market. 3 decades or more ago, Madam Speaker, nations with large population bases were considered poor and economically disadvantaged. Not so. Some of the most advanced economies now have huge population backing. Madam Speaker, as evidenced during its last 4 years in government, the nation which we have the honor of leading has shown abundant opportunities. Opportunities created by our consciousness to rectify shortcomings in services and amenities available for a better life for all Fijians. Opportunities created by a conducive environment for people and companies to invest and bring about progress. For this, Madam Speaker, a key ingredient is availability of skilled workforce. Sadly, it is no secret that we have a skills deficit in Fiji in almost many spheres of trade and professions. The ministry I have the honor to lead has already worked with the Ministry of Employment and Productivity and Industrial Relations to review and enhance apprenticeship programs, which will be a key contributor to addressing our skills development. My ministry is taking steps to maximize opportunities to strengthen the technical and vocational sectors. Any investment in such measures should yield appreciable returns in a reasonable time frame. We cannot mark time. We need to progress diligently if we are to arrest the skills shortage and produce the caliber of personnel necessary to meet the development goals of this nation. Madam Speaker, it is imperative that the exercise is not just a numbers game, but of quality which will contribute significantly to the contribution of our needs. It is the immediate desire of my ministry to focus on improving the standards of English by looking at various strategies, integrating the teaching of different maths in schools, teaching language using Walesi as a digital platform, encouraging professional development for our teachers through scholarships to meet the priority areas of the government and the ministry. And obviously, another priority for the ministry is the ongoing restructure and the salary increases for our teacher. In addition, Madam Speaker, we are going to look at increasing counselling services within our school system for both teachers and the students. Madam Speaker, the Fiji First government's initiative in expanding tertiary scholarship empowers us much more emphatically to work with the Ministry of Civil Service and the the TLSB board in ensuring that scholarships offered by the government and donors meet the needs of our nation. We are working with all our universities, which are funded by the government, to ensure that we coordinate better. Any and all necessary avenues need to be identified and desirable outcomes accelerated so that we are in a better position to better meet the targets identified in the National Employment Policy. Madam Speaker, in line with the Fiji First Manifesto, we will promote the increased participation of women and girls in traditionally male trades and occupations. This requires a mindset change in all forms of teaching, whether it's in schools, universities, technical and vocational institutes, and indeed amongst potential employers as well. We are committed to promoting the green economy through supporting a greater understanding of climate change and mitigation through our school curriculum and our universities. Both our commitments to gender inclusiveness in trades, etc., and the promotion of green economy must not be left in two hard files or be symbolically lip service generally coined by politicians. We need real commitment and results, and I stand firmly behind these commitments of my government. Madam Speaker, our teachers need to be better supported, particularly in terms of English and Maths through continuing professional developments. We recognize that quality of students can only be improved by quality and better equipped teachers. Fijian students should be no lesser equipped to meet the challenge and innovations posed by the rapidly progressing technological world we are currently living in. Madam Speaker, the world of education is seeing massive transformation. Technology is fast outpacing all our previously known and accepted forms of intelligence. We cannot fall back on the excuse that we are a small nation, far removed from the main centers of technological advancements and centers of learning. The changes in modes of communication, internet and online feeds all allow us to keep pace with the world of learning. To this end, Madam Speaker, we will be continually reviewing our curriculum to ensure that it is fully integrated and meets the needs of the fast developing Fiji and in line with the internationally accepted innovations and transformation, so as to produce young Fijians ready to take over the baton and to take on the world. In emphasizing inclusive approach, Madam Speaker, we must ensure that we are not leaving anyone behind. Therefore, we will pay particular attention to schools for our students with special needs, and most importantly, place particular emphasis on the foundation of all education, our early child and care education schools. Of course, Madam Speaker, we cannot forget the very special nature of our rich heritage and the makeup of our people and identities. As such, the teachings of conversational and contemporary Itoke and Hindi will continue to be fostered as this contributes to improving the understanding of our cultures and the unique blend of the Fijian identity. We are already contributing to the tourism industry, but with the recognition that this remains truly the most growth-oriented sector. We will work on boosting significantly our outreach here as well, so as to be truly inclusive. Madam Speaker, the sum total of all foregoings is that we need a government which can deliver these results. And I'm proud to say that we have such a government again, one which has proven its resolve to make our country more economically vibrant. We need a parliament, Madam Speaker, which understands the needs of the nation and our citizens and works collectively over and over petty point scoring to make this country strong and vibrant. I take this opportunity, Madam Speaker, to pose this challenge to all our fellow parliamentarians. Let us rise above self-interest. Let us work towards building a better Fiji. Let us work towards a Fiji where we will not foster hatred and fear. Let us work towards creating a Fiji where every Fijian feels safe. Let us work towards a Fiji where every child has a gleam of hope and excitement in their eyes for what the future holds for him or her. All children, as mentioned by our Honourable Prime Minister, are beautiful. Every Fijian child is precious. It matters not if they live in the outer islands, remote villages or communities or towns and cities. We are legends for them, only if we leave a legacy of which they can be proud of tomorrow. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, we are a wasted elite sitting here at the public expenses and spewing unworthy diatribe and looked upon by ridicule by all. Madam Speaker, I'd like to conclude by making a special plea to all the members present in this august house to honor and love the country. The love which has brought us all here to sit in this august house. To honor the future needs. To honor the future needs of our country, first and foremost, and not to dwell on our past failures. And in the memorable words of J.F. Kennedy, allow me to quote, Madam Speaker, We are not here to curse the darkness, but light the candle that can guide us through the darkness to a safe and a sane future. Unquote, Madam Speaker. I pray that the Almighty will continue to watch over the very unique blend of kindredship and care which we Fijians feel for our next-door neighbors, regardless of our distinct ethnicity or religious learning. We Fijians are indeed unique. We have shown the world over and over again our resolve to come out of the worst calamities and disasters. And of course, we Fijians are the envy of the Pacific for progress we have achieved as a united nation of people. Madam Speaker, may we and our beloved Fiji always prosper and progress. Madam Speaker, we on this side of the August House, we are committed. We are committed to ensuring, and Honorable Prakash, I said this, yes. And I'm sure we all can unite and pray for the success and prosperity of our nation, Madam Speaker. We are committed to ensuring that our legacy is built on the values enshrined in our Constitution and lived by each one of us in our daily lives. I thank you, Madam Speaker, and as we are approaching the festive season, and I'm sure we will not be meeting each other before Christmas and New Year, please allow me to thank you all for being part of this August House for the new term. I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas on behalf of myself and the party and my two daughters and my mom and my family, and let us all have a blessed 2019. Thank you very much.